I'm your host, Joel Butcher, and today in studio this whole hour, we've got Stephen Meadows, a local author of Meet More, Make More. And as always, minding our show's business is Mr. John Michaels. John Michaels, how are you today?
Not bad. How are you today?
I am toasty. It's a little summertime.
Warm. It's a little warm.
No, it's good. I love summer. It's and it's going to be a great show because we're always talking about on Mind Your Business right here a couple of things: networking, customer service, and preparing for rainy day. And I'll say it again. If you have a business, put $25 a week away. Forget about it. Put it away. Save for that rainy day. Save for that day when you don't have power, when you've got an ice storm, whatever. Save it. Trust me, you'll spend $25 more than that on a lunch. But anyways, so I want to get started because the hour's going to go by fast. We're going to talk a lot about networking. We're going to talk a lot about the book, Meet More, Make More. You can get it right now on Amazon. Plus, if you call in, the first 3 callers, you're going to get your own book. If you got a business, if you're into sales, if you're into, if you're a realtor, if you're into just meeting, or you just like to have a book about great tips. If you're a teacher, it's about networking, any of that thing. First 3 callers, 931-645-6414. We've got books for you. Stephen brought in. But let's get right to him. He's an author. What's it feel like to be called an author? Stephen Meadows.
I'm still trying to get used to it, honestly. I mean, I've been called a lot of things in my life. Author has not been one of them until recently.
It's pretty cool. And yeah, first of all, thank you for coming. I know you've got, and you smile every time I say it. You got these book tours going on. You've got one here in Clarksville, kind of a launch party tomorrow. But you're going around, you're talking about your book, you're promoting your book. So I know it's a whirlwind, so thank you for stopping by and on your busy schedule. But it always interests me, and we've had a lot of different authors on the show, and the first thing I want to know, because it's still, to me, is fascinating how you can put all these thoughts in your heads, all these different ideas, and get it out on paper to where, especially from an informative book like this, where you're trying to give tips, to make it flow so it's not jumping all over the place, kind of like we do in the show. You know, we're always jumping in and out of different conversations. But talk about the process before we get into you. You know, and I know you work at American Home Shield, which you give an opportunity to talk about that. But talk about the process. You know, how do you start off and say, I want to write a book, and then let's talk about how you got to writing the book.
Well, I had thought about writing a book a while ago. I mean, I'd had some ideas, but it never occurred to me to actually sit down and write it because I thought, oh, it's going to take way too much time. I don't have 9 months of my life to commit to this project and make $2. And so I just kind of put it on the back burner. And my friend Lauren Hermes, who is a local realtor, she and I was really sort of jokingly saying one day, I could write a book about networking. I seem to be pretty good at it, and I enjoy telling people about it. And so we kicked around that idea for a minute, and I did some research. And if you go online and you do research about writing a book, it will be very discouraging. I mean, everything you read online is like, oh, you don't make any money, and it's so horrible, and then you have to try and get published and all this. And so I said, I'll take the half step. I'll do a blog. Authoring a blog is much easier because it's bite-sized segments. It's a couple of paragraphs once or twice a week, however often you want to do it. My choice was once a week. I do my blog usually on Sunday, and that way it's ready to go out on my newsletter and everything on Monday morning. It goes on all my social media outlets, but I pick one little topic a week, and I talk about it. Well, over 4 or 5 months, the blog got fairly robust in its content. Excuse me. So I was having lunch with somebody, Tim Davis, who actually wrote the foreword to my book, and he's written several books, and we were talking about it, and he said, you basically have a book already written. Why don't you just take your blog and turn it into a book? And so I did. I basically sat down that weekend and did about 3/4 of the book, compiling it, rewriting it, chunking the blogs into chapters, basically like, okay, these 3 blogs go together about this subject. But if I was I was going to give someone advice about writing a book, like you want to sit down and just start writing a book, because I've already started on my second book, and actually technically my third book. I've got the ideas and the basic frame done of it. Is, first start with the subject that really interests you, something that you're really passionate about. If you write about something that's not very interesting to yourself, it's going to be a boring book.
Right.
I am extremely passionate about networking. I just did a sales seminar yesterday, and it was just one of the most exciting things I had ever done. I mean, I left there just extremely energized, ready to go. I love talking about networking. Find something that's really puts a fire in your belly. It doesn't have to be a big book. I mean, you don't have to sit down and write 300 pages. If your information's good, 100 pages is usually enough.
Well, what I like about this book is, I have a horrible attention span. Okay, but the way you've written it is that, excuse me, you have the sections are quick. Mm-hmm. And even the paragraphs are broken down with topics. You can just kind of buzz through, see a topic that kind of catches your eye, boom, quick paragraph. It's why I like Twitter.
Yep.
I like Twitter just because you only have so many characters to get your point across, and you're done. And so that's kind of like what your book is, like a Twitter version of a book. I mean, it just hits these points, and it flows very well. But networking, why networking in general? What's so great about networking? Aside from writing a book about it, what's so great about networking?
Well, I joking, and I'm not joking. I mean, it really is serious, but I say in the book that I actually exist because of networking. My parents actually met because of mutual friends of my grandparents that they knew through one of those at-home sales companies, Raleigh, Amway, one of those old Electrolux, whatever it was back in the 70s that people were doing. And that's how my parents met. And so I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for networking. My mom was a public health nurse until she retired. My dad was just really well known. My whole family was well known in the community. And I grew up in that mindset of if you meet more people, you have more connections, and it's easier to get things done. If I need something, I know I can call someone who can call someone who can call someone. I don't have to know everybody. I basically use something that I learned a long time ago. It was a quote from Albert Einstein. He was being interviewed by someone, and they said, well, if you're so smart, how many feet are in a mile? And he said, I don't need to know that. Why would I need to know that? I have an encyclopedia on the shelf.
Right.
And I've always said, I'm not smart because I know all the answers. I'm smart because I know where to find the answers.
Exactly.
And networking is a way to accomplish that. I don't have to know everything. I just have to know someone who might know the answer.
Which translates to owning a business. You don't have to know every aspect of that business. What you have to know is what you don't know.
Absolutely.
And where to get that help. If you're running a business, you don't have to be an accountant. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to be a lawyer, and you don't have to be a marketing expert. You have to be an expert, I feel, in customer service and the product you're selling. But the things you don't know, you have to know who to connect with, and how to do that is networking.
Yeah.
And there's a networking event every month. First, was it the third Thursday, I guess, of the month? Business After Hours, mm-hmm. which is funny because one of the things that we're going to get to in your book is when they business after hours, nobody ever wants to talk about business.
Right.
So it's funny. We're going to get to that too. How do you conduct business at those events without being the obnoxious one that's always talking about your business? So we're going to get to some of that. But going back to your book, this first segment here. So you know what you want to write about. You're passionate about networking. You've talked to Tim Davis. How long did it take you to put the book together and to get it to cover form and to say, okay, this is what we're going to publish? Even from Amazon, there's people out there that want to write a book. How do you get your book on Amazon?
Mm-hmm. I would say that from start to finish, from the day I sat down and copied my first blog into Microsoft Word to the day I pushed the button to publish the book, it was probably about a 5-month process. Mainly because I included an interview section at the last minute. About 3/4 of the way through the book, I said, I would love to take a page out of Tim Davis's book. He wrote an entire book about interview. He interviewed people about how they conducted their business on the golf course. It's called Selling on the Green, and it's on my website. Because Tim's such a great supporter, I want to support him.
Which is the website?
Actually, the simplified version of the website is CMV cmvbooks.com. It's Cronus Media Ventures is the publishing company, but it's cmvbooks.com. He did this whole interview process about like what works for you. Instead of him saying, these are all the things you need to know, it's take it from the experts. So chapter 9 of my book is called Don't Take My Word for It. And it's basically me asking these questions to people who I feel are networking experts. There are some people locally, like Ariel Anderson and Lauren Hermes, local realtors. There's some people that are well-known in Nashville, and there's even people that are well-known in the real estate industry across the country. Jackie Leavenworth, for instance, she is a nationally known real estate instructor. I mean, just absolutely amazing person. She's been my idol for years, ever since I took a class with her. So that's really what lengthened the time of the book, because I had to wait, for their schedules to allow them to do the questions and get me their bios and things like that. But otherwise, the book itself probably would have taken me about 2.5 months to compile, because I already had most of the content written on the blog.
So we're sitting here with Stephen Meadows talking about his book, local author, Meet More, Make More, Turn Your Network into Net Worth. So really it's taking networking to the next level. It's not just about selling your product and all that. How do you turn it into net worth?
Well, I used this analogy yesterday. I actually came up with this in the car yesterday on my way to this training. Think of networking like a garden. Every time you meet someone, you're planting a seed. Some seeds will grow, some seeds won't. Some seeds grow really fast like weeds. Some seeds can take years, even decades, to bring fruit. So networking is planting the seed. Harvesting it is making the sale. In between, you've got to water it. You've got to nurture it. It needs sunlight. So if I meet you one time and I never contact you again, that seed's going to die. I can never rely on you to be helpful to me, and you can never rely on me to be helpful to you. We've met once. You're probably never going to remember me. So you've got to keep in touch with people. There's people I've met 5-6 years ago. I met them one time. Every now and then I'll drop them a line on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a great way to keep in touch with people in the business sector.
It's the business Facebook.
Exactly.
I like to say, right?
But that way, if I ever need something, I'm not just asking them out of the blue, like, who is this weirdo? I don't even know this guy. We've kept in touch. Like, hey, how have you been? Da-da-da. Or if there's something great going in their life, congratulations on the new job, whatever it is. So networking is a process. It's not a one-for-one, one person met equals one sale made. It's certainly not that, but it's definitely a channel to build